Oh man, yo, I feel like the champion. Oh man, yo, I feel like the champion.
Oh man, yo, I feel like the champion.
I'm making sure they know me now, know me now, know me now. And I pray they never forget me and made it because they let me made a lane.
What up, fellas? What up? I'm your host, Novell, aka Dewey Groove, aka man, she looking good in them jeans. So let's talk a little bit of relationship maintenance today. Whether you're married or dating, this will help you cope with your modern engagements with women. Fellas, don't be a Simpanzee. So what's a Simpanzee? A Simpanzee is a guy that allows a woman to dominate him through either sexual relationships, emotional manipulation, or threats of financial ruin through divorce or whatever. It's the domination part that's the problem. That's the issue. Men and women, every man and woman going into a relationship has an agenda. And I'm not saying that from a bad or negative standpoint. I mean, both people are trying to figure out if this person is going to be a good mate, a good spouse, a good girlfriend, a good boyfriend, whatever. So there's many check boxes that you're trying to hit. There's many things that you're trying to figure out. And there's many things that you're trying to do to see if there is a bad or a negative trait that you can change in that person. So everybody's coming in trying to get the person that they want or date the person that they want or need at that particular time. So women have a tendency to date guys with potential that they want to take to another level. Men have a tendency to date women right now because men are visual and they want what they see, right? It's a here and now type of thing. But women are a little bit more forward thinking, and you can't discount that. I mean, I love women. Women are great, but you have to understand what's going on here. So what you don't want is you don't want to get into a situation where you're in a yes dear relationship. You don't want to get into that mode because at that point, that happy wife, happy life type of thing, that puts all the onus on you, that puts everything on you to make her happy. And once you start along this path, you have to reject the urge to do that. You have to reject the path of least resistance. What does that mean? If there's a problem, you need to speak up. You need to say something. If you want to do something, you need to be assertive. You need to say what is on your mind, and you need to hold true to your values, right? But a lot of guys, what's happening is that they get married. I was talking to a buddy of mine just yesterday. A lot of guys, they get into a relationship, they get married, or they're in a long committed relationship or what have you, and they've got emotional stake in the game and they don't want to lose it, or they've maybe let themselves go a little bit or whatever. They're fearful of getting back out into the dating market, and they just take the path of least resistance. They just kind of, oh, okay, yes, dear, I'll just let you kind of run the ship and run what's going on here. No, you need to back off of that, and you need to take stock in yourself and just say, you know what, I don't appreciate this, or I would rather do this. One thing that really kind of burns me up is when a woman asks you, hey, what do you want to do tonight? And a guy will say, oh, I don't know, whatever you want to do. Okay. That is one of your opportunities as a guy to be assertive. You need to be assertive. You need to take charge. You don't need to be aggressive. You don't need to be a jerk. You just need to take charge of the situation and be accountable for what happens. So at that point, when you're dealing with a woman, you need to hold true to your values, hold true to who you are, stand up for your values, and do what is good and comfortable for you. The next thing that I was going to say is something that women are very good at. And guys are good at the conquering, right? They're good at getting a woman and potentially getting her into bed and all of that good stuff, because guys are gatekeepers of commitment. And, well, what does that mean? Just real quick, they're gatekeepers of a committed relationship. Women are gatekeepers of sexuality or sex and physical intimacy. Whereas women want guys to commit. Guys want women to sleep with them. Right? Now, I'm not saying all guys or what have you, but most guys. So one of the tools in your tool bag as a guy when you're dealing with a woman is to abstain from sex. Now, I know that's not going to be a popular position with a lot of guys, right? It's all about getting out there and slaying them, right? But if you can just, at least in my life, this is held true. If you can just abstain, even for a month, 2 months, what have you, into that relationship, you're going to find out a lot about that woman on an emotional level, on a talking level. You're going to determine whether or not this is somebody that you want to spend any kind of significant time with. And the beauty of that is that it holds true with certain values of you don't want to put yourself out there in a standpoint of sleeping with a lot of women, because when you sleep with a woman, when you become one flesh with a woman, and I know that's kind of a Bible-y kind of way of looking at it, but when you do that, you are tied to that woman. You're tied to her. And that tie only gets stronger and stronger the more you sleep with her. So when you sleep with a woman and you sleep with her 1, 2, 3, 10 times, every time you do, you have more of a stake in who she is and what she's going to become. Right. And that's where soul ties and all that stuff come into play. But you need to try and abstain from that, because there have been times where I've been with women and it has been great and I've slept with them, and then 3-4 months down the road they have a viewpoint on a certain thing or they do a certain thing, and I'm just like, man, I don't want to be with her anymore. But now I've slept with her. Now it's harder to break off with her because maybe I want to keep sleeping with her, or maybe it's just I've become a little bit more emotionally attached. And fellas, let me tell you something. There's no way to sleep with a woman on a consistent basis and not become emotionally attached. It's impossible. Now that the range of emotional attachment might be different from guy to guy, but make no mistake about it, there is an attachment, and it's hard to break off from that the more you sleep with them. So I always say, try and abstain from that, because that's also one of the tools in the tool bag for a woman. They know that, the more that they can get you to sleep with them, that there's a potential for getting you a little bit more emotionally involved. And that's what they're trying to get accomplished. They're trying to get you vulnerable. They're trying to get you emotionally involved with them. They're trying to get you to where you have an emotional stake in her. And then they know it's going to be tough or difficult for you to break away. And on breaking away, fellas, stop arguing with women. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. And now, I've had a problem with this in the past. There have been a couple of women that I have just gone round and round and round with, and it is a lose-lose proposition. There is nothing to come from arguing. Now, can you have thoughtful discussion? Can you put your viewpoints and feelings out there, and she does the same, and you guys come to whether it's some type of a consensus or some type of an agreement or agree to disagree, what have you? That's all constructive. That's all good. But going round and round with a woman, especially about a topic that one of you keeps doing, one act that they keep committing and the other person just doesn't appreciate. Stop arguing with women. First of all, they're better at it than we are. Now, again, I'm talking about women and men in generalities, but women are more indirect, they're more subtle, and they're more equipped to handle the emotional roller coaster that arguments present, because there's that anger, there's that flash of anger, how dare you say that, and then there's the up and down where both people are trying to say what they want the other person to hear, or not say what they want to hear, but say what you want the other person to hear, in the sense of, I've got something that bothers me, I want you to hear it, but you're saying it in an elevated status, you're saying it in an explosive status, and there's a higher likelihood that you're going to say something that you're going to regret later. So don't argue. If you find yourself at a point to where you feel as though you're arguing, or you're well into an argument and you recognize it, stop. And that's the hardest thing, is just recognizing that you're in an argument and you're trying to either win the argument, or you're trying to just get your viewpoint across and all that stuff. Stop, take a deep breath, back away from her, and just give it some time. And even if it's 5 minutes, just back away from her and just settle yourself down, because you will be in a much better frame of mind. And now you make sure, though, that you come back to it, because one of the worst things that guys can do is to walk away from an argument and then never readdress what was going on. That's how things are going to fester. And fellas, manage your emotional fitness, right? Stop underestimating these women. They're very good. Again, like I said before, they're very good at making you open up, feel vulnerable. And we'll talk a little bit about the psychiatry of men and women and getting together and all that stuff. They know that once you're in this state, once you're in that vulnerable state, that you're more malleable to become the man they want. And that might not coincide with the man that you are or want to be, right? This could be a good or bad thing depending on our motives. And manage your emotional fitness, because it's tough to be able to back off of an argument when you are so emotionally charged, so emotionally engaged, that you just can't separate from it, right? So you need to be able to step back and view the situation critically and be able to objectively approach it, so that you can make the gains that you need in that relationship or in that particular discussion, so that there can be peace and harmony in your house, because that's what we're ultimately looking for, right? Peace and harmony. All right. So that's all I got. Appreciate everybody for staying as long as they did on this one. Fellas, this isn't as tough as it seems. There are a lot of women out there. There are a lot of relationships out there where guys are just struggling. But this whole thing, as far as don't be a Simpanzee, I mean, that's a little bit hyperbolic, but it really is. I mean, don't let your woman just run roughshod over you. Don't let her just road grade you. Stand up for your values, stand up for who you are, be assertive, be direct, and you'll be fine.